The desperate call. The emergency session of the Galactic Council had never seen such panic. Representatives from across the galaxy floated in their specialized chambers, each designed for their unique atmospheric needs. The usual diplomatic calm was shattered by the desperate transmission playing on repeat throughout the massive station. Ambassador Zelix of the Catherian Republic stood at the center of the assembly, his translucent blue skin flickering with patterns of distress. His people were known throughout the galaxy as healers and philosophers, their crystal cities housing some of the most advanced medical facilities in known space. Now, those same cities lay in ruins. Honored council members, Zelix began, his melodic voice carrying through the universal translators. My people face complete extinction. The Void Hunters have breached our outer defenses. They do not seek conquest or resources. They seek only to consume and destroy. High Counselor Vrex, a massive crystalline being from the core worlds, shifted uncomfortably in his chamber. The Void Hunters were a nightmare that haunted the outer rim of the galaxy. They appeared without warning, consumed entire worlds, and vanished back into the dark spaces between stars. No one knew where they came from, or why they killed with such methodical precision. How many ships do they have? Asked Representative Kayla from the Helix Federation, her tentacles writhing with anxiety. Our long-range sensors detected over 400 vessels before they jammed our communications, Zelix replied. Each ship is the size of a city. They move in perfect formation, like a plague of mechanical locusts. The chamber erupted in worried whispers. The largest combined fleet the Council had ever assembled numbered barely 200 ships, and most of those were exploration or transport vessels, not warships. What of your defensive platforms? Vrex inquired, though his tone suggested he already knew the answer. Gone, Zelix said simply. They targeted our orbital defenses first. Our people tried to evacuate, but the Void Hunters deploy some kind of interference field that prevents hyperspace jumps. We are trapped. The debate that followed was as predictable as it was painful. Some representatives argued for sending what ships they could spare. Others pointed out that previous rescue attempts had only resulted in more dead worlds. The Void Hunters seemed to grow stronger with each victory, their technology adapting to counter any strategy used against them. There is one option we have. Not discussed, said a voice from the furthest corner of the chamber. All heads turned toward Representative Dex, a small bird-like creature whose species rarely spoke during council sessions. The humans, Dex continued, ruffling his feathers nervously. Their homeworld has been classified as a death world. Perhaps they might have insights we lack. The reaction was immediate and divided. Some representatives scoffed at the idea. Humans were a newly discovered species that had barely achieved faster-than-light travel. Their planet, Earth, was listed in the galactic databases as uninhabitable due to its extreme gravity, violent weather, and aggressive ecosystem. You suggest we ask primitives for help? Representative Kayla's tentacles flailed in disbelief. They have no advanced technology, no experience with galactic warfare. They have something else, Dex replied quietly. They survived on a world that should have killed them. Every other species in the galaxy evolved on worlds that supported life. Humans evolved on a world that actively tried to destroy them. They might think differently about impossible situations. The vote was close, but desperation won over pride. A message would be sent to Earth, though few believed it would make any difference. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the USS Defiance, reading the translated message for the third time. The ship was humanity's most advanced vessel, a hybrid of human engineering and alien technology acquired through recent trade agreements. It was also the only human ship currently operating in deep space. Captain, said Commander Marcus Webb, her tactical officer, this has to be some kind of test or joke. They want us to fight an enemy that's destroyed dozens of worlds? The transmission came through official council channels, replied Dr. Elena Vasquez, the ship's xenobiologist. I've been analyzing the data they sent. The Catherian homeworld really is under attack. Their population centers are being systematically destroyed. Chen studied the tactical data on her screen. The Void Hunter ships were unlike anything in human military databases. They appeared to be constructed from some kind of dark metal that absorbed most sensor scans. Their weapons were devastatingly effective, capable of cracking planetary shields. With single shots, ma'am, Webb said carefully. Our ship isn't designed for this kind of engagement. We're equipped for exploration and first contact, not fleet battles. That's exactly why we might succeed where others have failed, Chen replied. Every other species in the galaxy thinks in terms of fleet engagements and technological superiority. We think in terms of survival. The journey to the Cytherian system took 3 days at maximum hyperspace velocity. As they approached the outer edge of the system, the destruction became apparent. Entire moons had been shattered, their fragments forming debris fields that sparkled like scattered diamonds against the dark of space. My God, whispered Lieutenant Sarah Park from the navigation station. They really did it. They destroyed everything. The Cytherian homeworld still existed, but barely. Its once pristine atmosphere was choked with smoke from burning cities. The elegant crystal spires that had defined Cytherian architecture were now twisted ruins glowing with residual energy from alien weapons. Captain, I'm detecting a transmission from the surface, reported Communications Officer Tom Rodriguez. It's Ambassador Zelix. He's asking for immediate assistance with evacuations. Chen opened the channel. Zelix's image appeared on the main screen, his blue skin now flickering with patterns of pain and exhaustion. Behind him, the remnants of his people worked frantically to load civilian transports. Captain Chen, Zelix said, I cannot express how grateful we are that you came, but I fear you are too late. The Void Hunters have withdrawn to the outer system, but they will return within hours to finish what they started. How many people still need evacuation? Chen asked. Nearly 2 million civilians remain in the underground shelters. Our transport ships can carry perhaps 50,000 before the next attack wave arrives. Chen felt her crew's eyes on her. The mathematics were simple and brutal. No matter how many trips they made, most of the Cytherian population would die. Ambassador, Chen said, we're not here to evacuate your people. We're here to stop the Void Hunters. The silence on the bridge was deafening. Webb looked at his captain as if she had declared war on the entire galaxy. Captain, Zelix said carefully, you have 1 ship. The Void Hunters have 400. I understand human courage is legendary, but this is suicide. Maybe, Chen replied. But before we die, we're going to make them remember why you don't mess with a Deathworld species. As if summoned by her words, the long-range sensors detected movement in the outer system. The Void Hunter fleet was returning, their dark ships moving in perfect formation toward the battered homeworld. All hands, battle stations, Chen announced over the ship's communication system. This is Captain Chen. Today we face an enemy that has destroyed dozens of worlds and killed billions of innocent people. They think they're invincible because no one has ever stood up to them effectively. They're about to learn what happens when they threaten someone under human protection. Dr. Vasquez pulled up tactical analyses on her console. Captain, I've been studying their attack patterns from the Council's historical data. The Void Hunters always use the same strategy. They approach in a massive formation, overwhelm defenders with superior firepower, then systematically destroy everything. Predictable, Webb noted. They're so used to winning that they've never had to adapt their tactics. That's their weakness, Chen realized. Every other species they've fought has tried to match them ship for ship, gun for gun. But humans don't fight fair. We fight to win. The Defiance moved deeper into the system, its stealth systems engaged. The ship had been designed with human paranoia in mind. Earth's military designers had assumed that any alien technology could be countered, so they had built multiple redundant systems and unconventional capabilities that no other species had. Thought necessary. Range to enemy fleet? Chen asked. 2 million kilometers and closing, Park reported. They're maintaining formation and speed. No indication they've detected us. Chen smiled grimly. The Void Hunters were about to receive their first lesson in human warfare. It wasn't about having the biggest guns or the most ships. It was about being willing to do whatever it took to protect the people counting on you. As the enemy fleet approached, Captain Chen began issuing orders that would have seemed insane to any other species in the galaxy. But to humans, raised on a world where survival meant thinking creatively about impossible odds, they made perfect sense. The Void Hunters were about to discover why humans were called Deathworlders. The Deathworld answer. The Void Hunter fleet moved through space like a swarm of mechanical predators, their dark hulls absorbing light and sensor scans alike. Admiral Crix stood on the bridge of the flagship, watching the tactical display with satisfaction. The Cytherian homeworld glowed like a wounded animal on his screens, ready for the final killing blow. Status report, Crix commanded, his voice a mechanical rasp filtered through cybernetic implants. All vessels in formation, Admiral, replied his tactical officer. Planetary defenses remain neutralized. We detect one unknown ship in the system, but it appears to be a single exploration vessel. Insignificant. Crix nodded. In 300 years of conquest, the Void Hunters had never encountered meaningful resistance. Species either surrendered immediately or were crushed within hours. This would be no different. What Admiral Crix didn't know was that Captain Chen had spent the last 6 hours implementing a strategy that no civilized species would have considered. Humans, however, had learned warfare on a planet where everything was trying to kill them. Deploy the mines, Chen ordered quietly. Over the past several hours, the Defiance had seeded the asteroid field between the Void Hunter fleet and the Cytherian homeworld with every explosive device they could manufacture. Using raw materials, from shattered asteroids and the ship's fabrication systems, they had created hundreds of improvised weapons. Mines are active, Captain, reported Lieutenant Park. Proximity fuses armed. Good. Now we wait for them to get closer. Dr. Vasquez monitored the enemy formation from her station. Captain, I'm reading massive energy signatures from their weapons systems. They're preparing for bombardment. The Void Hunter fleet began its final approach, confident and methodical. They had done this countless times before. Planetary bombardment was a science they had perfected through centuries of genocide. That's when the first mine detonated. The explosion caught the lead Void Hunter destroyer completely by surprise. The ship's shields were designed to deflect energy weapons and deflect projectiles, not to handle a nuclear device detonating directly against its hull. The destroyer split in half, its death scream echoing across all communication frequencies. What was that? Admiral Crix demanded, his mechanical eyes focusing on the tactical display. Before his officers could respond, 17 more mines detonated throughout the fleet formation. The Void Hunters had never encountered weapons that waited patiently, in space camouflaged among natural debris. Their ships were forced to break formation, their perfect advance dissolving into chaos. Unknown contacts, identify yourselves, Crix broadcast on all frequencies. Captain Chen's response came from seemingly everywhere at once. The Defiance had deployed communication drones throughout the system, making it impossible to pinpoint the source of the transmission. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the human vessel Defiance. Her voice echoed through the Void Hunter fleet. You are hereby ordered to withdraw from this system immediately. The Cytherian people are under human protection. Crix's laughter was a harsh mechanical sound. Human? We have no record of this species. You have destroyed 6 of our ships with primitive explosives. We will destroy your world in retaliation. Good luck finding it, Chen replied. You're not leaving this system alive. What happened next would be studied in military academies across the galaxy for generations to come. The human ship didn't try to match the Void Hunter fleet in firepower or numbers. Instead, it did something no civilized species had ever attempted. It hunted them. The Defiance used the asteroid field like a 3-dimensional jungle, darting between massive rocks and debris fields while picking off isolated Void Hunter ships. Human tactics developed through millennia of guerrilla warfare on Earth proved devastatingly effective against an enemy that had never faced an opponent willing to use the environment as a weapon. They're using the asteroids for cover, the Void Hunter tactical officer reported. Our ships can't maintain formation in this debris field. Then we destroy the asteroids, Crix ordered. Clear the field with heavy bombardment. But every time the Void Hunters destroyed an asteroid, the explosion created more debris, more hiding places, more opportunities for human ambush tactics. The disciplined alien fleet found itself scattered and vulnerable, trying to fight an enemy that refused to engage in conventional combat. Commander Webb coordinated the attacks from his tactical station. Target their engines first, he instructed the weapons teams. Disable them, don't destroy them. Let their own momentum carry them into the asteroid field. One by one, Void Hunter ships found themselves crippled and helpless, drifting into the very rocks they had been trying to clear. Some vessels collided with asteroids, their hulls cracking under impacts their designers had never anticipated. Others found themselves separated from the fleet, easy prey for the hunting human ship. Dr. Vasquez made a crucial discovery as she analyzed the enemy ships. Captain, their communication system is completely centralized. If we can disrupt their command ship, the entire fleet will lose coordination. How do we identify the command ship? Chen asked. It's the one that's staying furthest from the fighting, Webb observed, studying the tactical display. Classic command doctrine. They're using their smaller ships as expendable scouts while the leadership stays safe. Chen smiled. It was exactly what she had expected. The Void Hunters fought like bullies, sending others to do their dirty work while avoiding personal risk. Time to change that, she decided. Prepare the boarding pods. The concept of boarding pods was uniquely human. Other species, when they wanted to capture an enemy ship, used careful docking procedures and formal surrender protocols. Humans had developed small armored vehicles that could punch through enemy hulls like bullets, delivering soldiers directly into hostile territory. Admiral Crix watched in growing alarm as his fleet was systematically dismantled by a single alien ship that fought like nothing in his databases. His vessels were being picked off one by one, their crews reporting impossible tactics and weapons that shouldn't exist. Admiral, his communications officer called. We're receiving reports of small craft approaching the flagship. They appear to be projectiles of some kind. The first boarding pod struck the Void Hunter flagship with the force of a meteor, its reinforced nose cone punching through the alien hull and lodging in the ship's superstructure. 20 human Marines in powered armor poured out of the pod, their weapons designed for close-quarters combat in zero gravity. The Void Hunters had never fought inside their own ships before. Their tactics were designed for planetary conquest, not corridor-to-corridor combat. The human Marines moved through the alien vessel like a virus, systematically capturing critical systems. Boarding parties have secured the engine room and are moving on the bridge, Sergeant Martinez reported to Captain Chen. These aliens have never trained for shipboard combat. They're completely unprepared for this kind of fighting. Within 30 minutes, Admiral Crix found himself staring down the barrel of a human plasma rifle, his bridge crew subdued by soldiers who fought with a ferocity he had never imagined possible. Admiral Crix, Chen's voice came through the communication system. You now have a choice. Order your remaining ships to withdraw from this system, or we will systematically destroy every single one of them. Crix looked around his captured bridge. The human soldiers stood motionless in their armor, but their weapons never wavered. These weren't the civilized warriors he was used to facing. These were predators from a death world, and they had turned his own ship into a trap. You cannot defeat us all, Crix said, though his mechanical voice lacked its earlier confidence. We are the Void Hunters. We have conquered 1,000 worlds. You've conquered 1,000 worlds of people who fought like you expected them. Too, Chen replied. We're humans. We fight to win, not to follow rules you made up. The demonstration that followed broke the Void Hunter fleet's will to fight. Using their captured flagship's weapons, the humans systematically destroyed every remaining enemy vessel. But they didn't just shoot them down. They used the Void Hunter's own tactics against them, broadcasting the destruction on all frequencies so every alien crew could watch their comrades die. Please, Crix finally begged, his mechanical voice cracking with genuine fear. We surrender. We will withdraw from this system. Withdrawal was 24 hours ago, Chen replied coldly. You had your chance to leave peacefully. Now you get to learn what happens when you threaten someone under human protection. When the battle was over, not a single Void Hunter ship remained functional. Some had been destroyed outright. Others disabled and left drifting as warnings to any other predator species that might consider threatening the galaxy's peaceful worlds. Ambassador Zelix stood in his rebuilt command center, watching human engineers work alongside Catherian technicians to repair the damage to his world. The rescue had taken less than 8 hours. The reconstruction would take months, but his people were alive. "Captain Chen," Zelix said as the human commander visited the surface, "my people owe you a debt that can never be repaid. But I must ask, how did you defeat them so easily? The Void Hunters have been unstoppable for centuries." Chen looked out at the crystal cities being rebuilt, their spires reaching toward stars that would never again be dimmed by the shadow of conquest. "They weren't unstoppable," she said simply. "They were just bullies who had never met anyone willing to fight back properly. The galaxy is full of civilized species who fight with honor and follow rules. Humans fight to survive. There's a difference." The news of the Void Hunter defeat spread across the galaxy faster than hyperspace communications. For the first time in centuries, the Outer Rim worlds felt safe. The nightmare that had haunted 1,000 worlds was over, ended by a single ship, from a species most had dismissed as primitive. The Galactic Council extended immediate membership to humanity, along with a request that human ships be stationed throughout the galaxy as protection against future threats. But Captain Chen had a different proposal. "We don't want to be your police force," she told the assembled representatives. "We want to be your teachers. Every species in this galaxy has forgotten how to fight for survival because you've been safe for too long. The next threat might not be as predictable as the Void Hunters. You need to remember that sometimes the only way to protect peace is to be willing to wage war." The human training programs that followed changed galactic civilization forever. Species that had relied on superior technology learned to think tactically. Worlds that had depended on others for protection learned to defend themselves. The galaxy became a more dangerous place for predators and a safer place for everyone else. Years later, when historians studied the event, they would call it the moment when the age of conquest ended and the age of cooperation began. But Captain Chen always preferred the name her crew had given it, the day the galaxy learned why you don't mess with Deathworlders. In the depths of space, drifting hulks of Void Hunter ships served as monuments to a simple truth. Humans had not conquered the galaxy through superior firepower or advanced technology. They had done it the same way they had conquered their own hostile homeworld, by refusing to give up, thinking creatively about impossible odds, and protecting those who couldn't protect themselves. The Catherian Republic thrived under human protection, their crystal cities once again reaching toward the stars. And throughout the galaxy, when children of any species asked their parents about the monsters that used to hide in the dark between worlds, they were told the same story. The monsters are gone now, the humans made sure of that.